Yeah.
All right. As soon as the thing pops up that tells me we're live on Facebook, good to go.
This is gonna go live on your platform.
It goes This goes live to Parapost Network, which on Facebook, which we are now live. So, welcome to Paranormal: The New Normal. As always, I'm your host Jeremy, here to guide you into this strange world. And my guest today is Joe LoCastro. Wow, I fucked that up. But no, my guest today is Joe LoCastro, and he is a. Oh, apparently we lost him. My guest will be right with us. Apparently, he had a little technical issue. Ah, there he is. We lost you for a second there, Joe.
Timeline jumping. You started it, and I had to come to a different timeline where I just jump in now. So thanks for having me now.
All right. So, as I said earlier, welcome to Paranormal: The New Normal. My guest this week is Joe LoCastro, and he is a psychic intuitive. And I'm going to let him explain what that means because I'm not going to begin to understand what it means. So, I am going to let him do it before I butcher something I shouldn't butcher.
I like
So,
that because a lot of people, I have a perspective of labeling, and a lot of people say I'm a clairaudient, a clairvoyant, and it aggravates me because that's the 3D label of the surface of what it is. So what a psychic intuitive, I'm very empathic, meaning I feel, which brings me the conscious messages. So I feel it, I get the message of what I need to share with people, and then I share it, and it's trusting that flow. Do I hear? Yeah. Do I feel? But it's not the same hearing. Like that's the 3D. But I help people spiritually when it comes to multidimensional things, because that's where my energy is. I work with people when it comes to spirits that are either energies or spirits that are affecting that person. It can also be an emotion that's affecting their reality. It could be galactic issues or something on the galactic level, because there's things that we're doing on this level that we're not aware of the work that's going on that level. Um, but why I'm also here is I've had a lot of um, alien, galactic, and spiritual events that were very profound in my life. And these were the moments that either also made a part of who I am in my spiritual life today, or what's going on, but it also played a part in there is much more beyond this physical than you can imagine. And I think that's the whole thing about people. We think we're just people, and there's a lot to our life that plays a part in directing us or sharing with us. There's multitudes of different things happening at once. And quite honestly, the first thing that ever happened that was so profound in my life was a family friend that came over. They were spiritual too, but they kept bringing up my grandfather on my father's side. And I remember thinking, like, as a kid, I was like 15 or 16, like, oh, okay, cool. What's going to happen? I love hearing messages. I still got messages. But this time was different. He looked at a picture my mom brought of my grandfather, and he was gone. And he was gone. My grandfather was there. My father was at the table too. His dad passed away in his 30s, like 36. And he didn't come down through this person to say, hey, I'm your grandfather. It didn't sound like that guy. That guy was gone. He came down through this guy physically and said, you better leave your girlfriend. And I'm like, what? My dad got up. Like, he doesn't even like understand what happened. He couldn't handle it. Got up and he starts yelling at me about how this is going to ruin my future. And later on, she had looked at me one day. We're getting ice cream. She goes, hey, we should have sex. And I was like, why? She goes, I stopped taking my birth control, and my grandfather was warning me about all this stuff, and it completely altered my life. Where to now, the past 2018 is when a lot of stuff happened for me, with a lot of light beings and aliens. But what about you? Have you ever had anything like happen to you that you had a lot of questions that was just so?
I mean, not in that type of sense in any way. I never had any like messages like passed on to me that actually like made sense and like ended up being something. I've always had premonition like dreams where, but it's always just rhetorical stupid stuff in the dreams. It's never anything important. It's like, oh, you're gonna say this joke to your friend in class someday, and then 3 weeks later I'll say it, and then I'll walk away and be like, wait a minute, I've seen this before. But
Okay,
I mean, it's always been like that. I am not. I believe I'm having some sort of spiritual awakening lately. I talked to a lot of mediums in this show and a lot of psychics, and through them, I'm kind of starting to have a spiritual awakening in a way. I had something really cool happen with one of the last mediums I interviewed, which her episode is actually dropping in this Friday, so 2 days. So, which
cool.
at the end of it's after we record, so it's not on the episode. But it was and I've talked about it in other shows as well. It's just a very crazy, like my grandfather might have been standing right next to me type of thing, and it's hard to explain, like because she just because I've always was brought up as like, oh, psychics are just out for your money, like because that's the way it was in the '90s, which I understand now that's not true at all, but back as a kid, that's what you think. So I mean, you see the movies, you see TV shows, and how they portray them, so it's kind of like, yeah. But nowadays, I obviously I wouldn't do this show with them if I didn't think they were real. I wouldn't waste my time if I didn't think they were real. But so and just some of the things she pointed out about him that there's no way she could have known because she doesn't know me. She is. I have no connection to my grandfather through social media at all because he died and he didn't have a social media account ever. So I mean, there's no way she could have known the things she knew about him and the things she was like trying to get me to figure out which grandfather was and the things she just like the questions she would answer. There's no way she would know ahead of time. She didn't know me from a hole in the wall. So it's not like I made an appointment with her weeks ahead of time and she had time to Google me and everything. But
Right.
so stuff like that, I do fully believe now that there are. I mean, I'm sure there still are some out there who are just trying to make money because that's the way it is with everything in the world. But I know a lot of them out there are real and they have abilities, and there is a spiritual awakening going on in the United States and the whole world right now where people are realizing more and more that they have these abilities that they never realized before. And
Okay.
more and more people are trying to learn to open themselves up to these abilities because it's becoming a new trend in a way.
I I'm hearing what you're saying because this is as me in the real world is same as right now. I'm listening to what you're saying, and I heard spirit. I heard my guides and my emotions, and they said, "You need to talk about your spiritual awakening journey." And the chills went up. They're like confirmation. Boom. The spiritual awakening journey for me, and everyone's gonna have their own journey because it's your reality, right? But the reality of the spiritual awakening is it's helping you break free of the third dimension, and it's also helping you navigate higher vibrational timelines and alignment, whereas in a previous placement you would have not been here. And what happened, and most likely for many people, the spiritual awakening happens where it's just such a profound event in your life that it brings you to a depression state, and you go to your lowest that you've ever been before. And that's where a lot of difficulty comes in. I remember I lost my ex to in 2018. I left Florida. I left her, and she wound up taking her life. And that brought like a whole bunch of pain and like questioning about life for me. Like, what am I really doing here? And it started to click into all these different things that had happened. I was seeing angel numbers for the first time, and at first it was kind of like, oh, that's cool, 111, 222. But then it was just so much more and more and more, and it freaked me out because here I am leaving work. I'm thinking like, wow, this is still real. My ex is gone. Like I can't like just like talk to her still or just make things better. And I'm questioning life, and so my life belief is breaking down. My belief system, because of my reality, it's all breaking. So my reality is breaking the old belief system as this new one is being channeled to me without me knowing. And I went to a Christmas party, and I give them my coat for the coat check, and they give me a number, and that number was 333. And I'm like, what's going on? And I started to question who's Joe. And I had weird events like I remember seeing in my mind in the back of it, someone was leaving my body and someone came into my body, but it was a positive thing. And so lo and behold, the universe will provide you with people, messages, clarity at this random moment. And you're like, oh. And so that night I realized about the walk-in. I got a video about walk-ins. And I'm like, oh my God, everything about a walk-in. And a walk-in is someone who I already had this conscious awareness of, and I didn't have the validation. And I realized that old me had died. I knew that a part of my soul, which I kept saying out loud, I didn't know why, I was saying, like, this is not my reality. And I said it 3 times. Like, things I didn't normally do were coming out, which was actually good. But my old soul didn't want to stay with the mission or this life journey. And this other soul came in. And there was something said to me a long time ago that I was a reincarnation. And reincarnations aren't always what we think. And I love cherry peppers, for example, and I eat them whole. And my dad is like, "You're eating a whole hot pepper? What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love it. I do." And he goes, "My dad used to do that." So just because my grandfather came through someone else to tell me something, he was trying to help me, which is him and us. It's like a whole thing. But the spiritual journey, it's very interesting because throughout that, I created my own podcast and I didn't know what I was doing with it. And I created my page, created my name, and I created a millennial's third eye, is what I call myself. And that was the first thing I did was the podcast. And I remember not knowing what I was doing with it. And I remember working at a job and I wanted to quit so bad because I just wanted to be happy and free. And so I learned through that I wasn't loving myself. And it was the first profound moment. I was like, oh my God, I'm pleasing my parents and my friends, and I'm not doing what I want to do. And so it was these significant, big, impacting moments of this journey that you rise again from this death of you. But there was so many things happening, man. Like that's just the surface of it.
Well, first thing I want to bring up is that was a freaking amazing story. It truly is, and it's a journey and a half. It's a journey and a half. But
I was scared. I was scared.
the second question I had is, why do they call repeating numbers in 3 angel numbers? I kind of get that maybe call 666 that because it represents a certain angel, but other than that, like I don't understand why they call those angel numbers. I never have, and
So what happens is 666 when people are there. There's a lot of people that still gravitate to that as like satanic or evil, and it's actually not. Like people like the Friday the 13th. It's actually not a bad day. It's a really good lucky day. It's a good number.
I've
Um,
heard that.
so kind of like how emotions are just emotions. Everything's kind of like surface level. Numbers are just numbers. It's like the first learning of here's the alphabet. Here's the numbers. Here's um, emotions. Those are the basic learning experiences we know. That's the label of what these are. So we know them as numbers, but what we find later on is that me, you, the world, people, elements, basil, mint, it's all vibration. So when you're not in a happy vibration, you're in a lower vibration, which is a sadness or it's an off vibration. That's it. There's a positive, there's a negative. So we get stuck in a lot of the negative because that's what we're used to as humans in our subconscious mind of being born. We are we just know how the brain is. And so we get stuck with, oh my God, this happened to me and I'm sad because that's what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing. And so you vibrate sadness and you only get more sadness. So angel numbers, what happens is that when we're not even like asking for the sign or we're feeling and thinking something vibrationally, you'll see like a license plate. Like I saw the other day, 8080. To me, that stands out. I see a lot of there's a significant point in your awakening where it's like numbers are just a thing. Like you have to realize like you can't avoid them now. And it's because your soul awakening, we're stuck at 3D at one point. And so we go through this break where we're not just 3D, we go 45D up. And then we realize the duality is still there, but we still have to balance life. So when you're in high vibration, either if you're kind of like mediocre, you're going to see a number jump at you. And maybe it'll jump at you in synchronicities of 111, and you see it again and again and again. It's not to scare you, which is the normal thing, because we're like, what's happening? This is only happening in movies. What's going on with my life? You start to believe and know that there's more. But angel numbers will come in at a specific moment, or even music, because your vibration is at that level of receiving a guidance. Especially if you keep asking angels for guidance, or you're asking for help emotionally, you're going to get a message that will help you. So it's another way of trusting the universe. But 666, the problem with that is that the belief in the subconscious mind is holding negativity towards something. And a lot of the times we found that, or we find that what you feared was once actually just a fear, and it's actually just a part of the whole. And I'm not saying go be a Satanist. I'm saying you'll realize that it's not about that. It's about dark and light. It's about positive, negative, masculine, feminine. I had a lot of numbers come up, especially when I was synchronistically attracted to numerology and sacred geometry. You just find it's all steps in vibration. There's a message or something connected to that one. And you'll find a lot of time the message is resonating with you because you have to let go of the doubt of something. You have to let go of the doubt of your dreams not coming true. You have to let go of the doubt of, where's this going? I don't know where it's going. Why am I doing it? But I love doing it. You break subconscious beliefs because your vibration overall is attracting what we're feeling and thinking. So if there's a message from an angel number, it's saying, hey, one of them could be, you're doing really great with your thinking and feeling and vibration. Keep doing it. Trust the process and trust the angels. And it's a way for all of us to realize many different things too. We're connected to the universe. We're connected to each other. Our emotions and thoughts are a thing. Um, there are angels. There are spirit guides. There are light beings. There's multi-dimensional levels to who we are on this planet. And it's the vibration. That's it.
Yeah, which I do get that, and yes, I did gravitate towards wanting to be a Satanist when I was in high school, but I've grown out of that since then. But I
It's a
now,
rental phase because it helps us break fear.
especially like when most of us my age at least grew up in the 2000s, early 2000s, 90s, we were most of us were brought up religious as could be because that's the way it was. So that's how you rebel is by going anti-religious, which that's Satanism. So I mean, it's a phase, and most teenagers go through it at some point. But
Mhm.
I mean, at least men do. I don't know about women, but I know some of them do, but I don't think as many by far. But
I've
hey,
experienced dimensions, and this is the hard part as a spiritual person. I'm not, honestly, like, this is still kind of difficult for me to explain to people. There was a time where I realized more about my energy, which went up to another level of like archangels and stuff too. And I talked to a friend. As soon as I figured that out, they told me, "Oh, I'm actually," and it made sense later on because their Facebook name was like Lucifer, and they're like, "I'm the angel of Lucifer. I'm actually like," and I understand that because it's not about what we normally would think. It's about their part. Lucifer's a part of the archangels. They're part of the angels. That's it. So the next day, I kid you not, I pulled out of my driveway. I stopped and I went like this. Like, it was weird. I'm just, another day in life. And I went, this is hell on earth. And we didn't have a bad conversation. It wasn't like demonic. It wasn't like, oh shit. It was me facing my own hell. I was facing a lot of demons at that time, meaning my own darkness, my own fears of life. And that day was not easy. I went to work and it was like hell on earth in general, was being misunderstood, being in fear of something, running from my fears. I had to speak my truth. There was a lot involved. And the snow, it was snowing. And someone actually reminded me, and I it wasn't just snow. It was fucking ash, man. And I went home, and that night I remember coming home, and just like synchronicities happen, like your friend over here who doesn't know your friend over there tell you the same thing, and the radio's singing about moms, and my friend over here saying you need to love your mom in a different way and understand. And that friend says the same thing, and I'm like freaking out, another level of awakening, going, okay, I love my mom. Like, I felt misunderstood by my mom for a long time, but I was misunderstanding her, and I was misunderstanding the connection of my mom and me, and me growing up and finding my own happiness and not letting her sabotage in the sense of, oh, that's not good enough for you. I want you to be proud of me. Like there's a lot of learning to it. So it sucks because to you guys, to people listening, some people might be like, oh my God, I understand. To many, they don't experience hell on earth. And I'm like, yeah, if you get it, I understand. Like it's these events can be really profound because your mind opens up to the new levels of awareness. Because once you break free of the world is more than you knew it, and you see the angel numbers, the music's talking to you, and a message you never heard before, like I heard it earlier today again. You'll hear things and things that you've never heard before. I remember listening to Eminem during my awakening, and I heard his message more than I did before because I was just like, oh, it's a cool song. Like I didn't realize like the what he was saying. Like, oh, I get it. It's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Which I mean, yeah. Which today was actually a weird day for me because I had this life coach slash NDE experiencer on a couple months ago, and I randomly sent him a friend request on Facebook because he came in my "you may know" section, and I'm like, oh, I'm not friends with him already. All right, I'll friend request him. And then he was on one of my other fellow podcasters friends show, and I was listening to that episode today in my car while I was working, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I come out of a store, go back in my car, and he messaged me like just to check in and see how I'm doing, and I was like, that's weird. I was just listening to you in a podcast and talking to a friend about you as a podcast guest. I didn't say that part, but and I'm like, and then you just messaged me and like I explained how I'm doing because I'm having a lot of trouble lately balancing podcast and family life, but I'm trying to work on it. And I gave him like the whole rundown of like how things are going because we talked a little bit after the show he was on, and he sent me this long message like giving me good advice on like how to handle things. And then he sends a nice little short 6-second message after that saying there are no accidents. And I was like, oof. So I mean, it was just a weird like
Yeah.
I actually felt something at that point because I'm like, wait a minute. What I mean, I've always believed in fate. Like I believe there really are, whether you want to go by the three old ladies in Greek mythology that are sitting there cutting your strands of fate, or any of the other ones, the well at the bottom of the tree in Norse mythology, but it's just there's fate exists. I don't matter how you want to classify it. And I was like, is this just fate, or like, because I started getting this weird feeling, like I'm like, or is this all actually like a divine purpose of him reaching out to me at a weak point for a certain reason?
No, there's a lot of things for you that like I like to look at on a multidimensional level. So you remind me of when I started my podcast, and at first when I was creating it, um, I literally had no clue. I was just so excited to create this thing, and I didn't even know how I can tell you I came up with a millennial's third eye, which is like I'm still amazed by it. Like I love that name, and over time I just learned that I loved sharing my journey with people, which in turn I found that people needed to hear, even myself. Like, no joke, my first live video I did for my page, I was talking about fear. And I was saying to myself, but to people, fear is just the unknown of what you know you need to do. And I'm sitting in my car on my lunch break talking to you, but talking to me. And I know that I was knowing that this timeline had to stop. And I knew that I had to quit my job or stop working and stay home for a while. And at the time, my family, maybe this is something you need to know too. My family was, it really sucked because I can say all the negative things, right? And this is what was happening. My parents were like, well, if you quit that job, you better go back to school or get another job. And I just went through someone who just killed themselves, and I miss, and I'm sad about it and questioning life. And the reality of it is my family pushing me to just continue. They want to see me succeed. Like people want to see us do things to be happy. But Joe needed to stay home and discover who he was. So in that time frame, I wound up like getting burned by my coworker with my foot in the kitchen. Like he dropped like hot water in my shoe. So I had to take time off. And it was honestly the best thing ever. I needed it besides my foot healing. And I remember, this is so embarrassing. I kept staring at the burn cream, and I was looking at the barcode. I was in a weird phase, man. So I'm looking at the barcode, like there's a message here. And I'm up front with it. I'm like, there's a message in this barcode, man. Where is it? And I turn the bottle. And what's the opposite name of soul awakening? You know it. Or the other name they have. Ascension.
Yeah, true.
So I turned the bottle. The name of the bottle of the burn cream was Ascend. And my brain went bing. And I went, oh God, there is a message. It was weird, man. But
Yeah, I mean, little stuff like that happens to me once in a while, where I'll just be like having a certain feeling and a certain day, and like it just like everything seems to come together, or like just the last 6 months, like my life just seemed to. I was on my friend's show that I was talking about this other guest of mine being on, and he asked at the end of our show, like, what are your goals for 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years? And I gave him my goals, and within 6 months of doing his podcast, or 8 months, whatever, every goal I set for 1 year has basically happened. And
wow.
it's like it's just like the last year basically has just been all going like for Jeremy. It's like it's all going for Jeremy the way he wants it to go, and it's like, I mean, yeah, there's been bad stuff too, but nothing like tragic, just little things here and there. But every big thing that I wanted to happen that time has happened, and it makes you wonder if like there is a spiritual awakening. Like it just,
Yeah,
I mean,
we're awakening to who we're supposed to be as human beings on Earth, and we're also playing a part in the past, present, and future with timelines because time is irrelevant. So our ancestors, our spirit guides, I was shown personally. This is how I like the same thing you're experiencing. When you experience it, you just know. And so what I've learned through synchronicities and messages, and I was shown that there's the galactic version of ourselves in another timeline. The same time is irrelevant. So it's the same up and down line, but there's an X. And so we're in the middle of that X right now, but we're lining it up from the past and the present and the future. There's also problems with the future. There was a galactic war that we're preventing, but our past lives and our ancestry, by being here, learning how to do all this, which was what they were denied of. They were denied of the truth, but we're also evolving. So the evolution is going outward as well. Um, I want to mention to you that a lot of the things that you're doing, you're attracting through the process of your golden dreams. So not only are you showing yourself you're excited to talk with spiritual people in different multitudes, but it's also showing you that you have certain gifts about yourself that you're evolving and learning to grow with, that will evolve with. Not I'm a reflection of you, but you're also a reflection of me because I'm going through another process that you're going through in a similar way. Like I'm evolving too. So we're all in harmony. And you're going to find out more about who you are because you're like, no, I love this and I'm not giving this up. Like I now know my dream and my passion and all that I do. I've learned through different motives that a relationship's not going to get in the way of this. Like they have to know, like, if you love me, this is a part of me. If you love me, then love me. But otherwise, like I can love you at a distance. And the hardest parts about this journey is sometimes ending things that you never thought you were going to end. Um, Moving somewhere you don't know where you're going to move to. It's always the unknown. And if we can get used to the feeling of the shift, because I'm very empathic, emotional navigation. I teach people how to get into the flow of their abilities and what that feels like and how to be aware of it on the metaphysical and inner being and outer being. But also for me, I learned through my own journey that this feeling is bringing me to this, and oh, that's a little uncomfortable, but it's just the unknown. All right, but I got to trust the process, and I know that I need to face this and go through it or make that change. So you're attracting a lot of the things that you already are and you're learning about, especially that you need for your journey at specific times. And you reminded me of this one time I told the universe, I was like, you know what, universe, have my friend call me because I'm calling them all the time. And then they called me like that. And I went, so there's a lot of cool stuff. And then we get frustrated when we can't do it right away. We're like, wait, what happened?
no, I mean, I haven't really gotten frustrated with it so far, at least. I mean, I just been kind of like, I keep like just sitting there, like thinking about like I want this to happen, and little by little, I see signs here and there. But then something happens. Then like stuff like today happens, and then driving on my way home, a freaking bug or something flies in my window and nails me right in the neck, and it hurt like a mother. Still hurts, but it's
Damn.
like I'm like, what kind of sign is that? Come on now. But
You have to speak your truth, maybe, about something that's bothering you.
yeah, which that kind of already happened a little earlier today after I got home. So, I
Yeah.
mean,
Maybe that
maybe
bug
that,
helped you hit that spot so you could say it. You're like, boom, there it is.
true. Instead of just holding it in, you actually because of that, like it made you mad enough that you want to go say something. So I could see
Sometimes
that.
we say it in different multitudes. It might come out angry, but it's like it's the truth because we're holding it in so much. So don't ever feel bad for saying it the way you need to say it, because honestly, everything happens at the right time, the right way it's supposed to happen, the way it's supposed to happen. So um, even if you're aggravated about it, it's supposed to be coming out that way. How it's meant to be expressed. Sometimes it needs to happen because our self-love is important. If you honestly, and I can tell you're passionate about what you're doing, which is super important, and this is a spiritual message too. Um, we need, and the relearning process of loving yourself, especially through a spiritual awakening, it's it's fun but difficult because you're like, I need to do this for me. I need to do this for me, and you're like, wow, this feels amazing. And then this vibration comes in. It's like, whoa, 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 and we have to evolve ourselves. So there's times where we have to learn, like, look, I need to do this for me because I need self love. This doing this with you, I love it. Makes me happy. It recharges me too. Helping people or being on the phone with someone as a client, I love it, and it helps me too, and I recharge because it brings happiness to me. But if I just go to work and come home and I'm like avoiding myself and I'm on my phone and I'm not a, consciously aware and intentionally aware, like, I need to do something for Joe. So what does Joe want to do? And that's why sometimes we're like, I don't know what I want to do, I'm bored, and we do that stuff. But we really know we want to. Talking is a big thing. It's needed. It's needed. Like these conversations with, especially with you, I find more meaningful. It doesn't always have to be a spiritual conversation, but there's more connectiveness with people now than I didn't have before. So it's fun.
Now, yeah, which I agree. I mean, that's the reason I do love doing this podcast because, as I've had other mediums tell me before, with the spiritual awakening that's been happening for the last 5 years or so, like especially since COVID hit, like there's been more and more because people were locked at home and they're just spending more time with themselves and they're learning about themselves. So that led to even the bigger spiritual awakening, which I mean, I never was aware of until I started the show. And I've always been into the paranormal, so I just wanted to start a show. Did I think it was going to be more with mediums and psychics than anything else? No, I thought it was going to be more with like people talking about Bigfoot and Loch Ness monster and stuff like that. Like, but I got what guess I can get, and I mean, I'm not upset about it. I'm not complaining about it at all. I'm very happy with how it turned out because talking to mediums turned out to be one of my favorite things to talk to. And I mean, yeah, I'll still talk Bigfoot all day, but talking to a medium, it leaves you feeling different. Like I'm a different person after I talk to a medium for at least the rest of that night, if not the next day as well. Like
Yeah, you're
you,
taking in a lot of energy and learning more too. So as a medium, um, we're we're in between per se. We're in the middle. We're in the middle of the physical and the non-physical world. So we're that medium of I can feel this energy on this level. That's why I teach people, because they're all, when I teach people, it's normal. They're like, I don't hear anything and I don't know and I don't know. And I teach them about what it's like to be and me and being internal or aware of your inner self. And that's because behind you energetically is where the emotions, the light is. And so that's where all this energy of spirits communicating, they're not communicating guides and stuff. They don't communicate through physical words. That's the physical realm here. That's where the density is. But the telepathy and the communication of spirit guides, bringing forward the light and messages, you're allowing your channel, your intention and awareness is with your guides or your team or your people, your energy, to bring forward loving light to help this person or to communicate that from the other side. Um, I still have moments where I'm like, whoa, that was real. Because a couple of years ago on a Facebook Live I did, I remember someone just coming into the live with capital letters. And they're like, please help, my son's missing. And I was like, I'm gonna try my best, but I haven't done this before. And then boom, I hear he's set, which is crazy to me. And I said he's like 7 miles out, and I can't tell if he's north, south, or east or west, but he's 7 miles out. He's in the woods. He's scared. She came back later on to thank me, and which was my guides, because I'm just the vessel. That's how I also respect that. They're the ones that help with this. She said he was 7.2 miles out in the woods north. And I'm like, I had a moment. I actually got off my chair and was like, holy shit. Like we did that. This happened. Um, so we can definitely do things. We just have to get out of that motive of how, because I don't know how, and we do a lot of it already. When I was a kid, there was a couple different things I said, and I didn't realize I remembered them, but I didn't know like the profundity of it. And one of them was small. It was my parents had bought stocks with my neighbor in the 90s when it was booming. And I was with them at my neighbor's house, and I heard them go, all right, should we sell the stocks or keep them and see if they grow? And I just went, sell it, sell it. My dad said, Joe, shh. They didn't sell it, and they lost the money. But there was moments of someone in my family that we were at a party, and I kept hearing in my head, I felt it. This person's the last time you're going to see them here. You won't see them after this. And I'm like, what the fuck? So long story short, I went back to school, and it was the Twin Towers. He was working in the second one. And we heard stories after why he didn't come out, but he died in the Twin Towers. And it's like, why couldn't I tell him that? Why couldn't this have? Sometimes we're not meant to. It's just, that's what happens. And it's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, I mean that's fate. That's just fate, and people are. I've always said, like I am destined to die. The day and time I'm destined to die from the minute I'm born, from before I'm born, probably. I'm destined to die a certain time, and nothing I can do is going to dramatically change that. I mean, short of jumping off a cliff or something, but I don't have that kind of personality, and I would never do that to begin with, and that is part of the plan, I think, because we are all destined to go when we're destined to go, is my opinion. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
no matter the cause or way we die, we're supposed to die that way.
There's
And
there's a lot of belief. Like you can change over time. Like you still have that mentality, but your timelines can change because you are happier and you're okay. Like there's destiny to the timeline. So if we stay in the certain, it could be, let's say I'm in a negative timeline just for like a couple days, but it helps me bring awareness in to what I need to learn, or so it helps us evolve. But we also have this, if you wanted to really live a long life, you could, but there has to be this belief of how healthy you are, how much you love yourself. Like there has to be a maintenance to it. No one can really tell you when you're meant to die, but I do believe and agree with you. When we are, no one can tell me, no one can change. Like when I'm meant to go, I'm meant to go to the next like level or the next place. Or so I agree with that, but I also agree that we create our own reality. So if we really wanted to live a long life, and I think that this is where humanity's going through this evolution, you're evolving, I'm evolving. It's just the consciousness of the planet. It's a collective is evolving. So if this is all happening at once, that's where technology, evolution of music, health, this is the golden age. Um, but our body is also becoming more aware of how this belief and this awareness will help change. It changes the human vessel. So you and me becoming aware of how love energy is so strong, right? So when someone's really sick, if they have a lot of people are giving that love and checking on them, there's a higher chance of recovery. That's the impossible, like prayers, and that's love. Calling someone just to say hi, like there's so many different versions of love. So we're becoming more aware of the importance of love energy at the time of it, your self-love, where it goes, your thoughts, your feelings, and how you can help people without buying stuff or even buying stuff to bring them happiness. Like there's so many different things. And so if the humans becoming aware and consciously aware involving, the body is too. And so that's why we're also learning about emotions on a higher vibration. At first, oh, I'm sad. I don't know why. Oh, I'm depressed. I don't know why. And we get stuck. We get stuck. And now we're learning, oh, it's because of this, or I'm not loving myself. I'm not over here or putting effort into what I really want. So we're all becoming aware to help each other. And we're going to get to points in the future where, or the humanity where it's just going to be like, oh, I just need to eat. Like, I'm just, I'm just needing this. And things will become more quicker, manifestations will come quicker because we're just becoming more aware and aware and aware of this real energy that's there.
Yeah, which I mean, the crazy thing is too, I had gastric bypass surgery back at the end of March, and it's kind of since then things have been changing. I mean, I've been thinking about it like while we're talking. I'm like, it's kind of been since that time that things have been like I've been getting more senses to stuff, and I don't know. Maybe something happened while I was out on that table that, I mean, they didn't say like you died for a minute or something like that, but like nothing bad happened during the surgery that they told me about. But I mean, what if something happened while I was unconscious? But
So you did die. You died because I'm going to explain what happened to me was during this time frame, I was experiencing a lot of weird shit, and I made a decision that was going to impact my life in big ways. So it wasn't so profound by the decisions, really. I was just happy to just be in this moment, and it was such a high vibrational moment, and I was sober. Well, actually, no, I wasn't, because I died for a different reason. I died because at one point in my life, up until maybe not too long ago, I was taking Adderall, but at that time, it was bringing me to where I needed to go to, and I wasn't taking it to overdose, or I wasn't taking it to get high. I just, at that mentality, I knew that I needed it to help me, and I would focus on what I need to focus on to get work done. And as my life progresses, I don't need it because I realized the imbalance of my own energies, and also not forcing myself to be someone I'm not needing to be for that time. Like, I'm learning to shift a lot. But at that time, I remember music was talking to me. I was getting messages from the universe. I was synchronistically linking up things very quick. It was the first time ever. I think I was getting a download. And I remember I was decoding a symbol, and I decoded it, and I realized I decoded it. And I looked up, and I looked at the tree, and I saw the all seeing eye in the tree. And I was like, oh shit, I died. I just died. I saw myself, my head went down, and I went up in my mind, and I freaked out. And I went to my mom. I was like, Mom, the fuck's going on? She's like, your eyes, Joe. But I'll never forget it because I still tell people, I know I died and I was brought to another parallel. And we're brought to this parallel because there's different timelines of Earth. So you did die because you made a significant choice to continue your life or love yourself. That's your importance. There's something big about that. And so you chose to do something for you, which altered your timeline. And what actually winds up happening over different variations, we are dying actually on other levels too as we continue because we're closing timeline loops. Every dimension has lines of timelines and choices. We still have to kind of live through. We can choose the timeline and experience it, but we have to learn it. And then we close other timelines because if we learn something quicker, we can now bring our best version forward of that dimension and align it up to the next level of consciousness. So the conscious part is just, okay, step one, there is more to this universe. There is angel numbers. There is, and that's the level of, oh, next dimension of consciousness. The third dimension is where we were stuck at. You need money. You need a job. You need a love life. Oh, your love life sucks. You don't have love. You don't have a relationship. You're in lack. You don't have this because you don't have this, this, and this, and you're needy or you're that. And you start to love yourself and start to believe and trust in yourself more and see things differently. That's not my life. That's their life. Or they're projecting that on you. It's not your belief. You come more conscious. So we are evolving further away from timelines, but I do know that experience of death. So you're not, the question you have is that you did. You died. I remember actually feeling my mom on the other parallel. The freaky part was this, and I'll stop talking because I talk a lot. My best friend at the time for years, we're not friends anymore, but things happen for a reason. I was in that spiritual awakening of what's this and what's this and what's that? No one was answering the questions. I was getting annoyed because the people I loved didn't know, and that bothered the spiritual people. And then there was someone that did know, but this person, my friend at the time, didn't tell me. And that this version of him, he was telling me privately, Joe, please stop asking so many questions. Stop. And I went, why? And he goes, because if you keep asking, you're going to die. And I was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm just asking questions. I'm curious about the world. Da, da, da. And later on, I didn't remember it. And I had that moment and I went, oh my God, I died in that version of my life. So there's going to be this distraction of confusion because that's a different parallel. Me and you are here in this parallel. How did we get here? But through similar parallels. Maybe you were on a different level over here and I was on a different level over here, but we still are meeting up through these death levels that we're letting go of to find ourselves to keep going further. But we're meeting ourselves this time for a certain reason. I don't know yet. It's still fun.
Yeah, I mean, which that that kind of makes sense to me because I mean, because a part of me died then too the day I decided to finally start the process of getting the surgery instead of because I fought it for years. Like for years, I said no, I can do it myself. I don't need any. I always said surgery is the weak man's way out. But I after I got to a certain age, like I think I was 32 at the time or 31 at the time, and I was just like, I can't do this myself at this point. I need help. And
Yeah.
at that point, something inside me might die because it was like a split second decision too. Because like overnight, basically, I just decided like it's time, like it's freaking time. So
You you altered your timeline. That's really what death is. It's an alteration of time. Time is irrelevant. So you made a choice that can either make or break you. Who's to say if that didn't go well, sir? But you chose to go up in a timeline. You also faced an insecurity you had about maybe you couldn't do it on your own, and you were broken by that, and you were like, "Fuck this!" It's like this. I'm important. My soul, my life, my living. I'm important. It's not about me doing it. It's me doing it this way. So how we get there is can we ask Joe for a second question? Yeah, for sure. Sometimes I don't ask questions. I don't take questions, but I can pick up on it. If you want to ask a question, that's okay too. It's not my shit. Well, you said it was
yeah,
my shit, but it's not.
well, yeah. I mean, that's totally up to you. I've had that asked of psychics before and meetings before, and I always leave it up to them because it's if they're willing, then people can gladly ask. So ask
Okay.
away, Ian.
While I'm waiting for that, yeah, and that was a hard thing for me to accept because it was something in my brain that kept saying, "You died. You know you died, Joe. You're in this parallel." And at that time, I've had so many. I say light beings because I don't. They don't like being called aliens. I don't like being called alien. Alien is a you don't belong here type of thing. Light being, where our light comes through our body. Everyone has that, but I had so many profound spaceships. I've even before my soul awakening, I had seen some shit that you can never. Me and my brother and my ex years ago came up my driveway. We parked right in the corner so you could look up the hill. It's nighttime. And if God had its own spotlight, like a sun, like a mini sun, that thing lit up the whole sky over there. It wasn't a helicopter. It wasn't just a thing with a no. That I saw acres of light, and it went click, and it went on and off. And I looked at my brother and my ex, and I went, "You guys saw that, right?" Then I saw a ship straight as day. My car was at the garage here, and I was so high vibrational, man, that my intuition was higher than ever. Maybe it's still higher. I just don't know. But my guides were like, let your dad help you with your car, even though you know what you're doing, because he wants to help you and be important. And I was like, okay. And as he's looking in the car, I look up, just like now, daylight. Look up. There's a ship right there. And I couldn't, for some reason, tell my dad, like, yo, check this out. And I just looked at it and went, like they were checking on me. And that's how I know they brought me to this body. I also feel like there's a multitude of things that I've been doing. Like I was a part of Mars and missions. I haven't gotten to that yet because I don't. Uh, I'm not ready to fully be aware of it. They're telling me timing. I would like to ask if you see a serious romance and relationship with Bob. He reconnected recently. Thank you. You know, and here's the thing. you need to be very direct with yourself and Bob about what you want, because what's happening is Bob keeps coming back around, or will come back around, because you keep getting sad or lonely, and then all of a sudden you're like, you miss Bob, like you want it, but you also have this thing within you that's like, you don't feel like sometimes, or believe that they're gonna be a long relationship. Like you have this lack of belief that things do last a long time, or they can be. But my guides are saying is that you need to really talk to yourself first about what you really want in a relationship, not with just Bob, like with the person. Because then you also need to communicate to Bob, like your your boundaries is what I want to say. Bob, what are you here for? What do you want? Because this is what I want. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't feel that this is going to be a long-term thing, because you keep hoping for something to just come in and work. And you keep getting upset that things aren't going a certain way. Honestly, what I'm being told too is that you're not letting old cycles and patterns end. Meaning he comes back around, and oh, what's this going to be? Or someone else comes back. The past is in the past, and you have to let go of how old you are. You have to let go of where you are in your life, because you have these worries about, oh, I'm this age and it's not going to work out for me, or I'm not that lucky enough to meet someone new, or what's the chances of me? You have to really find more excitement of you deserving more and better. But Bob is not going to be someone. It's more like a I just want someone to be there, and you want someone to be there, and to kind of like, there's the human nature of things, like hooking up or whatever. But even if you don't want a relationship, you want like a friends with benefits. My guides are saying your emotions, you want more, and you deserve more. You also have to let go of some past issues with whatever happened in the past, a bad breakup, a really bad toxic relationship. Let me pull a card or two and we'll wrap that up. But there's things that you're not working on for yourself, and my guides are saying this is no longer time for you to kind of like let life pass you by and hope. You have to really want and deserve the next right person, and believe that they do exist for you, that there is a balance of you and this person. You also need to do more stuff for yourself, because my guides are saying you need to get out more, travel, go do things. Like it's not just about you getting food and going home, or going to the grocery store and okay, I did that. Like you need to go do more fun stuff. And again, the age doesn't matter. I don't know what it is about age. I don't know how old you are. I'm not saying you are old, because that's not the point. The point is you have to get out of your routine. You can't keep doing the same thing expecting the same outcome. Your past card is the Five of Cups. So it's the Five of Cups is someone who is looking at the cups that fell over, and they're not looking at the two cups they have behind them that are good. So it's not about what you find in someone else. It's about who you are, and the deserving of you finding. Someone's not going to complete you. Your present card is the Knight of Swords in reverse. So you're not taking action with your decisions. The Knight of Swords is someone who holds the sword and is taking, I want this. So that's why I said you need to tell Bob what you want. And if Bob doesn't want that, don't be like, okay, cool, I'm okay with not having that then. Like you're lying to yourself. What do you want? Because you're settling and getting upset with the outcome. Your future card is the Ace of Wands. My future card's in reverse most of the time because they're on their way. If you keep learning how to speak your truth and be honest with yourself and what this person is, because I don't bullshit people anymore. I'm like, okay, you know what? What do you want? And they're like, oh, I just want to be friends and we can hook up or something. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I don't want a relationship, because I'm very blunt and honest about who I am and what I want. But there's even times where I learn more about who I am, and then I'm like, okay, well, I did want this friendship thing, but we're not vibing together, and that's okay. So I'm not going to waste my time. And to some people, that's like, oh, it's fucked up, or no, I'm honest with myself, and I know where it's going to go, and I feel it, so I'm not worried about it. I know that there's something else that will fit that better, or it will work, and I'm going to trust the process. But you need to speak your truth. You're telling the universe what you want. So Bob is a part of your reality, and you're going to tell Bob, what's going on? Why are you talking to me? What do you want? Because this is what I want. If you don't want it, like don't play around. And a lot of people still do that. They're like, hey, so how you been? And some men and guys just want to get laid. Sometimes I think it's better to be just straight up blunt and be like, hey, what are you doing? How's life? I miss you. I think we should hang out. By the way, what do you think about? People are afraid they dance around it. And I don't care what people think about me because I'd rather not waste time, but enjoy the time too. It's, you know what I'm saying? But that's what I got for you, Ian. Thank you for allowing me to read you. I see you said spot on. Thanks. I'm on TikTok, by the way. I'm looking to grow like 100,000 followers so I can go live on there. It's everything is underscore, so A underscore millennials underscore third underscore I. So there's underscores. I'm on
And
Facebook.
Ann said thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
But yeah, which I mean, yeah, that was very sound advice, I would say, because I've always been the same way. Like before I met my wife, we've been together 4 years now. But before I met her, I used to do the same thing on Tinder, on Zeus, on all the apps I was on, trying to be my soulmate. Basically, I would say like first thing I'd ask anybody is, "Why are you on here?" Like, and if they say like if their first response back always is, "What do you mean?" Then I'm like, "All right, that's a red flag right there." Because what else could that mean? What else could that mean? Like,
Yeah.
but
The life is a journey of journeys, man. So when I was on Tinder, I'm still on Tinder. Like, why not? I was in a toxic relationship for 2 years, and it taught me so much about like myself that I didn't know. So yeah, all right, I'm on Tinder and I'm looking for this. And I'm at a point now where I was younger and I'm 31. So for most of my life up until like 30, 31, I always wanted this relationship because that's what we're shown, this relationship. And I was
yeah,
always so emotional and wanting that emotional connection. And so after this toxic relationship, I learned confidence, I learned my sex appeal, I learned what I like, what I don't like, what I want, what I do want. And if that changes later on, it changes. But when I meet people on Tinder, if the conversation's boring, I already know, like, I'm not meeting you past this, but cool, we're here talking. If I don't get a message from someone, I'm not gonna wait and lose my time over it. Like, oh my god, this beautiful person's not talking to me, or maybe I'll say hey and they don't respond. Like, I'm not losing my cool over it. But what I'll do now is I'll swipe, cool, blah, blah, match with someone, and then I'll start seeing where the vibe goes, and I'll be blunt. Look, right now, I just want to hook up, or I want to meet someone that gets my points. There's nothing wrong with hooking up. I think there's a whole big issue with talking about sex in general. Honestly, just
oh
because
god, yeah,
someone values sex and it's very sacred doesn't mean that everyone else needs to. I used to be like that. But then I realized, you know what? I'm a human. I like things. Therefore, I deserve to like them and do and receive what I want. And there's things that people shouldn't do. I'm not saying go do them. I'm saying you know what I'm talking about. So
yeah,
we need to find people that are gonna get us. And you know what? I'm a rare breed. I'm very blunt to the point. And if we fuck, I like to say fuck around and find out. Because how else are you gonna know? So
exactly.
I'll find out. And then I'm like, you know what? You're a great person, but maybe this isn't for us. Or I'm not gonna keep losing time over because I like something. Someone else is like it doesn't go the way they want it to. I don't want right now emotions involved. Later on, maybe I do. I love myself so much right now that my dreams, my time, my even my friends. I have mainly majority of my friends are all women. My best friend's a woman. My people I talk to are women. So I had a toxic relationship. One of them was this insecurity of my friends and me going live. I go live on Facebook. Most of my clients are women. That's not a problem, but for someone who's going to be in a relationship with me, they have to understand like they get this whole other version that no one else will with me. My time in being here with someone or talking with someone or spending, that's my love. So if I'm going to spend a lot of time with someone in a relationship, they are going to have parts of me that I'll never have anywhere else. No one else will have. That's the respect. But love me for who I am. I love you for who you are. Um, you can take that into deep places. I mean, you can date a porn star if you want to and try that out because it's like, whoa, well, they're actually having sex with other people. Yeah, that's a rough reality to think about. I'm not in that thought process, but I get it. But I'm not having sex with people. I'm talking to people about um in the sessions. I mean, you know what I'm saying? When I'm on Facebook Live and when I'm doing that, but it's about sharing my spiritual stuff and sharing and helping people with readings. I don't like to be that person that's like, "Hi, I'm Joe. I'm gonna do tarot cards now, and I'm perfect." and I'm the light. No, I have my dark side too. I like to play. I like to have fun. I'm not saying I do satanic shit. I'm saying the dark side is your kinky side, or it's part of your true self. It's like what you really want to talk about, but you don't. That I just embrace both of it.
Yeah, which 100% agree with that. I mean, I have my light side, which is most of my podcasts I do. I mean, on comedy podcasts, my dark side comes out a little bit always, but I mean, I got my dark side that is into some weird ass shit, and that's my hardcore rap juggalo side because I'll blast out, I'll roll down the street blasting that stuff. Which actually, my co-host of my music show actually messaged me. He's like, "You should ask Joe to be on our show one time." And I was like, "All right, I can." He seems like a cool guy. I'm down for that.
Yeah, I would love to. You kidding me? That would be awesome. I do a podcast and I play music. I don't think I'm supposed to, but I play music and I'll put it on my radio show. But I would definitely hang out with you guys. Who knows what can happen from that? But yeah, let me know when. I'll be there.
Yeah, we can talk about it later on, but what date we can do it and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun show to be on. It is, and we're expanding now to different podcasters other than outside our group of friends that we all podcast together with. So now it's just moving on, and maybe it's meant to happen. So maybe Chancey has a sign that he didn't quite know what to read of, but
You know what's been happening with me? I don't know if this helps with your sign or the clues here, but I keep getting this message of a team of people coming together for the same just enjoyment and passion, and that's what's going to bring it to another level.
yeah, which I mean, that's why I mean. One of the past guests I was talking about previously, he always says to everybody like that does he's on for podcasting that podcasting is a labor of love, which it is because I mean, yeah, I've made a few bucks here and there off my show, but it's never like a constant incoming cash flow type thing. It's just what it is. I mean, but I'm also not in it just to make money. I'm in it to, I mean, yeah, if I can make a career out of it someday, that'd be great. But I'm in it for the fun and to learn new things at this point. Because
I had a hard time with that because
yeah,
I think you might learn differently than I do. And so my spiritual awakening, I followed my passion and I started a Facebook and I did lives, and I was packed with readings. And I can't blame my ex for it anymore because it's a part of my journey, but I lost myself. I wasn't doing readings as much. I was like losing, I just stopped. And so I had to rediscover over this time frame of, well, how did I do that? Well, I did that because I was just excited to do it. And I didn't have this expectation, because after that I started expecting more appointments. And I started expecting more people to follow my page. And I started expecting, so I had to learn to let go and trust the process. I had to relearn that exciting things bring exciting results. But I'm not supposed to put that, oh, I'll do this, but I hope my dream comes true type of thing. Like, I'll do this, but I hope I get more. Like, I just have to keep being my this version of excitement, of being happy to be here to talk about something without this background intention of like, I hope more people from there gets in sessions with me. Like, this is just about being in my true self, my energy, my happiness. Because otherwise, if we do that, like, we get into this phase of, well, I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to get what I want out of it. And well, what's in it for me? Like, we have this 3D mentality of, I want to do it because of this outcome, or no, I want to do it because I learned that I love this stuff. I love meeting you. I love having these conversations. I love talking about spiritual stuff. And I had to get past that stuck phase of, I was only doing it at some point because I was hoping for more. And I wasn't doing it because I loved doing it. So I had to relearn that.
yeah, which I mean, I luckily since I started podcasting have not gotten to the point where I forgot that yet. Thank God, because I do love doing it
Yeah.
100%. And I mean, yes, I made a deal with my wife that I will start taking Fridays and Saturdays off to make her happy and have family time. Because we do have two kids, which you may have seen me muted yelling at when they come to my door when I'm podcasting. But yes, we do have two kids, so I mean, I made that deal with her because I got a promotion. That's one of the things that I got in my year goal part, and it starts technically this weekend. So this is the last weekend I can podcast on Saturday. So I was like,
Can I ask you a question?
of course.
Um, are you allowed to add to your goals of the years?
I mean, there's no specific rules to it, but I mean, I do add to my goals all the time. Like I want to have this. Like something will happen in the house. I'll be like, I want to have this part of the house fixed by next year. But
Well, I'm asking because maybe you can add, and this is just my spiritual thoughts. I'm not saying go do it, but if it resonates with you, if not, don't worry about it. If you were to add to your goals to expand more on your loving relationship with your wife, or things like that nature, because what happens is there's pros and cons to it too. We can love ourselves so much that we forget that, oh wait, there is this part. I'm not saying you are forgetting, but add that, because as we're evolving, we need to evolve other parts of us too. And I think that would help, um, with the balance of your personal time, your time with your wife, your time on the podcast, because it's incorporating more intention. You know what I'm saying? For this to
yeah,
evolve more, because it doesn't just stop here at marriage. You know, I'm not married yet. Apparently, I'm going to get married. Um, we're not there yet, but I do know that there is more learning to that. Like I for some reason love learning about people sometimes, and what they like, just because I'm that type of person that I want to be able to go, okay, this person needs, to talk or vent, maybe let me help them. And if you didn't want to, fine, but I want to be there for my people. um but there's times where I need to rejuvenate myself with my love, and I can't give love if I don't have it. So there's that
exactly.
understanding. Communication is hard sometimes because we want to say what we want to say, but we can't say it. It's like, this is for me. I need to do this for me.
Yeah, I mean, literally the whole month of July, I went from June 30th to like the last week in July podcasting every day, either my own or being on somebody else's. But every day I was doing some kind of podcast. And it got, I mean, I enjoyed the hell out of the whole month, but it got to the point where it was like just every day it was up. I was in my room on headphones on doing something, and which it worked and it did great things for my podcast, but it just, my wife was not having it, not having it, because it's just the way it goes. But
I
and
used to get
then
uncomfortable at home too. Like, I would want to do the podcast, but I was like feeling uncomfortable at home. So I had to like work out some stuff, but I was super passionate about it. The headphones and the sound. Like, you get into it. You're supposed to.
yeah, which I agree, 100%. I mean, you get into it, and I would love to be able to set up a home office somewhere where I could actually have my own place to do it. But as of right now, the house we have is too small for that to happen.
I'm
But
in my garage. Like, I could have did this in the living room, the dining room, my room. But honestly, like, at first I was insecure about it, and I was like, everyone has a fancy background, and everyone has this cool backdrop, and I'm like, I'm in my garage. And I actually thought about this 2 or 3 days ago. Garage bands that were successful moved out of their garage. My dad at one point had his business as a woodworker in the garage. Like, he had his drill and fucking table here, and he moved out of the garage into a bigger place. Like, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna move out of this garage. I'm gonna grow out of it. Like that. Sometimes the best things come out of your. Gabriel Iglesias, you know that comedian?
of course,
He says a story about how his neighbors or someone close to him, they allowed him to come to the garage, and he did stand up there. And he was like, a shout out. They're in the crowd now, and I'm doing this on stage. I'm doing this in my garage. I'm gonna be on stage someday. Like, that's my point.
yeah, which I
I
get
would love.
that, and we're working on that possibly in the future soon because we got chickens in our garage right now, and they make the whole garage a freaking dusty mess. So can't do it out there yet, but hopefully soon I can. Or if I get my new front porch built, I can build a little office out there too. But there's a million ways to do it. But so when you keep saying though that about a galactic war, and kind of curious for more details on that because I feel like that's something we would know about if that happened to some
Okay,
degree.
so one of the honestly, if I can tell you out of anything profound in my life, like, yeah, like my grandfather came through this guy's body. There's a lot of crazy stories I could tell you that happened that you'll never believe, like the spaceships. The most profound thing that ever happened to me was this vision, and it was such an out of body. It was beyond out of body. Like, I didn't realize I was in my sunroom, standing there, and I for some reason I felt like this happened before, but it happened again. And it was fucking out of body. And I saw all this shit happening. And I saw this black ship with another ship, and the black ship collided into this other ship. And in the same time frame, I saw, it looked like another Earth, but it was another planet. And I was jumping around, like I was physically jumping. I don't know if the density of the gravity was different. I was jumping around trying to get off this planet. And at the same time, I'm seeing this planet fall out of orbit. It fucking scared the shit out of me, man. It was that real. And I see this planet falling out of orbit. At the same time, these black, it looked like, it sounds like a bad dream, but this shit was so real during the day. And I see this black ship with this red eye, like trying to grab the planet. Like it fucking scared the shit. I felt the shit. And I came to, and I was in the sunroom, and my dad was in the kitchen, and I went, it was just, I was like, hey dad, anything with like aliens happened to you recently? Or, you see, he goes, no, why? I went, nothing. Because I was going through it. And I didn't know, this is actually funny. This was years ago. This was around my soul awakening in 2018. I had no idea what that was. It was just something so profound in your life that you will never forget it. Spaceships, never forget it. That one, I'll never forget that shit. It was actually more profound than seeing a spaceship. So my guides told me one day, because I was like, I had enough of this. This was like years later. Maybe it was over a year ago, less than a year ago. And I'm like, guides, people, you need to tell me what this is. What happened with that? Why was that such an impact? And they said, you're not ready to know yet. You'll know in about 7.5 months. And I'm doing the math. It was around February. And I was like, oh, around my birthday. Completely forgot. 7.5 months go by, and I forget. I was going through a lot of more spiritual downloads. And I get this download while I'm at school. And I went back to culinary, not culinary. I graduated culinary. Went for automotive. Sitting in class getting this fucking download about the future, galactic, the present with our life, the past with past lives and spiritual guides and other connectedness. And it came down to the ending of duality, the ending of this, the ending of that. And my guides and all this team working together to tell me all this goes, by the way, here's the answer. And we're here. We're actually time traveling. We are galactic people that volunteered to come back at this specific time. When you're going through your awakening at that profound time, it's when you're supposed to awaken. And we're here on these missions because we're altering timelines of the future galactic war that separated duality. And if you look into this more, this is all this download that came in. Duality isn't just the galactic. It's Lucifer falling down as an angel. It's us going through the darkness to get to the light, because every soul has to, soul, spirit guide, all that, we all have to go through darkness to get to light. So we're in this X, and we're in the middle here in this time as a soul awakening to bring back harmony back to this, because right now we're probably here, we're on our way to bring it here, because the galactic level was all connected at one point. Duality is, your ability with hate and anger, but that's a gift, because hate and anger are the 3D vibrations of that emotion. But hate and anger can be also used in a deeper learning experience for the whole. It's not about hate and anger being like bad. It's just duality as it exists in harmony. So even ourselves, right? Duality is my external reality of what I'm experiencing and what I'm feeling, what I'm sensing, what I'm seeing, what I'm attracting. My inner being is the opposite of that duality, which is my inside, my emotions, my thoughts, in which I'm attracting in my external. So everything is the balance of inner and outer. You realize that you are duality. The world is duality. Division is duality. Galactic so we're bringing it back to harmony. Over time, I found out through people that I didn't plan on meeting that were very more galactic than me, because I kind of went from ancestors, spirit guides, to angelic and galactic. And I was like, what's going on? They were like, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. And you know that they know because they're like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I found out it was the Orion War that we're preventing. We're here to alter time for past, present, future, and as we're evolving as a humanity. And I also was told, I don't know how I feel about it because I don't know yet. I just know that much. There's something about AI technology. Yes, we go into the whole like movies and shit. I don't know, but there's something about proper evolution with it, and I haven't got into that yet. But I heard about that. But it was the Orion War, is what they were told, that I was told, and it vibrated with me. But that's why we feel like we died, because we are now higher evolved. We are part of a galactic level now of connectedness. And so we are here, but we're not just here, we're there. I was watching a video yesterday that came into my reality. I wasn't planning on it. And it was talking about the Palladians. And they
Yeah.
were explaining that there are some light beings that come to a gravity of Earth where they can connect, because the Earth is a matrix. It's digital. It's a system. We see it as a matter, but it's really almost like holographic in a way too. But we can come into the matrix through being a light being on missions. But it's like we're there, but we're here. And that's what's happening. We're experiencing the realities through the steps. And also, there's a lot more to just what we have known, basically.
Yeah, which I get that feeling all the time now. Like I was saying to myself today, like it feels like there's something out there that I've yet to discover. And being agnostic, I always question that, but I never could put my faith in any particular thing because it's always been there's too many options. But I feel like I'm getting led down a path where I may have to make a decision soon. But the day will
You,
come, and I'll deal with it the way I do when I get there. But
you already know. And that's a
oh, I
part of
do.
being galactic and aware of your human life. The other part is this: you can do it earlier, because you're not going to like me saying this, but the sooner the better. The sooner the better to make that decision, because you are prolonging it. But then there's going to be an uncomfortability of when you actually, if you want, you're going to have to face it one day and go, okay, you know what? But there's always more. There's always more to the story. There's always more than what you have settled for or what you thought, because we are all progressing in timelines of, oh, this is better, and that's not for me, that's for me. And then you just trust the journey, because you're gonna move too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, sooner I would love to do it sooner too, but just not sure what I have to do yet. Technically, I mean, I'm just not sure what the exact path will be. But I don't know. I don't know. I have a lot of recordings set up in the future, so who knows where they'll lead me in different ways. They always lead me somewhere, each one.
You'll be ready.
But so, can you say you go through timelines, but can you see them before you go through them, like where each one's going to lead, kind of, or is it kind of like a blind jump?
Let me explain that. Hold on. There's a couple of ways I've seen them. The best way to understand timeline jumping is the decisions. Your choices lead you to. It could be good or bad choices. A lacking of a decision can be also just the continuation of a pattern in that direction. But I tell people all the time, my brother asked me a question once, and he said, I want a really, I want a relationship. How do I get it? And I said, I drew it on a piece of paper. I said, at this end is where your relationship is, and you're here. But all you need to do is just keep making happy decisions, and you're going to find yourself meeting someone. And so a lot of the times what we want to do is control the direction. And so I want certain things in my life too. I'm like, where is that timeline? But I also have to trust the process, because trusting the process is, I made this simple happy choice today. And I made this happy choice to also work with Jeremy on this podcast live. And then I also made this happy choice here. It's about happy decisions. There's going to be things we don't want to do, we have to do. Like, I have to go to work. But I chose today not to. I got a phone call today, or no, text. I knew it was going to happen. They needed someone to come in. I was like, no, this isn't Joe's day. Joe needs Joe. Just maintain your happiness and trust in the process. It is somewhat of a blind leap of faith because we want this big thing here. So, for example, manifesting, right? I didn't realize I did this multiple times, and cars are my thing. As a kid, I did it. I didn't know. And I saw this truck, and I was like, that's my truck. Someone told me, like, tell the universe it's your truck. And I said, that's my truck. My dad wound up buying me the truck for me. I came back from Florida after all that, and I wanted to sell my car. And I told my friend, I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell this for $3,000. And he goes, how are you going to do that? It has 190,000 miles on it. I said, Florida, flat, no rust. I'm in New York, more money. Like, so he was like, how are you going to do that? I was like, watch. And then after I said that, I wanted a Volkswagen Cabrio because it was a convertible and it was dope.
Yeah.
So I said, after that, I'm going to get a Volkswagen Cabrio and I'm going to get it for less than the guy's asking for. I never saw the car, didn't find the car yet, didn't meet the guy. I sold the Durango for $3,000. I bought the Cabrio for less than the guy asked for, which was like, I think $1,300 or something. So I manifested it. And in that time frame of what I said to getting it all done, I didn't stop doubting it. I kept pushing for it. I kept looking. I kept posting. I sold the car. Like, you have to do that. That's timeline jumping. You have to want something. Yeah. If you're trying to control something, the outcome, you want something. It's usually the how's this going to happen? And it's really the belief and knowing you're doing this. My thing is, and I'm going to be straight honest, because it doesn't matter what people think. I consider myself famous because I want to be famous to help and reach more people. And I want to be on Netflix. I want to have a series of my own life. I want to show people that I'm just another version of you. Like, I'm not this special like yoga guru. Like, I am just Joe, and I'm a human being learning all this stuff. And I do readings, and I have things I want too. But I'm grateful for what I have because of this stuff here. And I want to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I have to trust the process, be happy, go through my moods because we have moods, we have evolutions. That's how we get there. And I manifested my new car. And I didn't have a new car for years. I had a lot of used cars. Grateful. Some people don't have cars. I was grateful for it. But I was tired of getting like another used car and the things like falling apart on me. And I'm like, ah. And I had a Volkswagen Beetle before. I had a new Beetle, 5-speed. And I was like, cool, this is dope, whatever. So I had my car and I was working at BMW. And I was like, you know what? I had $200 in my pocket. I had like a 600 and something credit score. And I didn't care. I was like, I'm going to get this car. I'm going to get this car. And my reality was my parents were like, how are you going to afford that? The reality tests you on your monies and beliefs. How are you going to afford that? How are you doing that? How are you going to get the down payment for that? And all I said was, watch. Yo, I remember I went live for readings because I needed to make more money to put money down for this car. And I wanted to do 800 down payment, but my goal was 1,000. I didn't get any readings that night. I was a little upset. I said, you know what? I'm trusting the process. I'm going to bed. I woke up the next day and something said to check my PayPal, and I checked it. Someone, I don't even know them that well at all. I still don't. They sent me $1,400. And I went, thank you, God. And I went, here's the money for this. Here's the money for this. And now I have the car. I did have to get a cosigner, which was another obstacle. But I was like, I'm not going to stop here. I'm not going to stop. This is not the end of, oh no, I'm not going to ask my parents. Absolutely not. So I asked friends. I was like, no, I'm going to get this done. And I remember calling a friend, and my guide said, she's an angel. She's going to help you. And like that, I said, would you mind being a co-signer for my car? And she went, yeah, I'll do it. Boom. So it all works out. The hard part is the present moment. The present moment we want, or we're trying to jump or shift, it's about your mood. If you align your mood with happiness, which is hard, you're going to align yourself with clarity, answers. You're not putting pressure on what you're lacking and what you need in your life. You're thinking happy. You're over here. That's when life goes, hey, here's that thing you want. And you're like, oh, I knew it. If I trusted the process, things will be better. And they do. There's all these weird things that happen, but don't try to control it. If you can know that your small decisions impact the navigation, it's a belief system. If you keep thinking and believing like, oh, I should be sad because I don't have a relationship with someone, you're not manifesting it. And you're not going in the timeline that you do deserve to meet that person that exists. So if you keep, the other thing about timeline jumping is this too. If you want to be in a timeline that is a better version of yourself doing whatever it is you want to do, try your best to do that now. So I've been saying I love my life because the version of me loves his life. If you keep saying I'll never get this or I don't have that, you have to say I do have that. There's actually a trick too. If you put a plate of food, let's say you're single, you put a plate of food or utensils next to you and you're saying, this is for my future boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife. And then you sit down. And if you really want to have fun with this, you could be like, hey, how was your day? Good. Like you start acting it out. You're aligning yourself with the happy version of you sitting next to your partner in the future because your law of attraction is working in that because you keep believing and saying that's for so and so, this is for this person that's going to be in my life, that's the future lover. And I've had people do it. They meet people, but they come up with new insecurities because they don't feel like they can keep that loving relationship. They deserve it. So we keep learning.
Yeah, which I mean, that was so me like 5, 10 years ago. Like it was just like I didn't ever think I'd be in a happy relationship, and I just wasn't. I wasn't putting it out there. I should be in one. I was just depressed about it constantly, and would just drink and smoke myself to sleep, basically, like just to forget about it. But Anne did ask another question about your reading prior.
What does it mean, Ace of Wands that I got? Was it the Ace of Wands? It was Ace of Wands in your future in the verse. So what that means is on the way. It's on the way. But if you keep believing in what you deserve and what you want and if you speak your truth, by speaking your truth is the decision of timeline jumping too. You're like, instead of questioning where are we going with this, what's going on, you're gonna receive more of what you deserve. So that could be a good relationship with Bob, but I don't really feel like that's gonna go. It's good. You're showing the universe that I'm not playing around anymore. Bob, why are you here? Oh, you're here to just hang out? Okay, I don't want that. You're showing the universe you deserve better. So that's an Ace of Wands coming your way because it's like you aced this test. You passed your test because you're not just settling out, oh, okay, I'll hang out and see, hopefully we'll see where this goes. You're like, no, what's up with this? And that's what you need to do. You need to address things, face. This is also for things in your life too, for other reasons. Ask questions. What is this? What are you doing? What do you? I'm not waiting for a raise anymore. Why have I not gotten it for 3 years? I love working here. What's the rate? What am I getting this raise? Oh, well, we have to do. You know that they're bullshitting you. Maybe you need to hear this. And you're like, no, I deserve better. Then you look for something better because there is something better for you. Sometimes we cap out at places and we're meant to go somewhere else to evolve. But with this situation with love and relationship, stop letting people kind of like lead you. You know what misleading is? Not being verbally, hey, up front. Where is this going? Misleading could be absolutely like, oh, this is where it's going, and then it doesn't go there. It's just you're just setting yourself for disappointment either way. You need to stop doing that. But you need to speak your truth. The Ace of Wands is saying you'll discover more and deserve more and get more if you address the situation. Because you're not going to be sad and lonely if you just conquer the obstacle that's coming at you. Because you're not letting people mislead you or take you for a fool anymore. And should I manifest a new love and travel on a full moon? Travel on a full moon or a new moon? I'm not a moon person because to me, and I don't say this negatively, I find that a lot of people wait for the full moon to do something, to release something. You can release people will release people from their life or release things from their life, but they don't realize like that's entailing a new lesson for you or that you need to release something else. But they get uncomfortable because it's not all tangible and connected. I was talking to a client today. Their home's falling apart, and the weather fucked it up, and the insurance doesn't want to pay. And I said, "Well, what does that have to do with your childhood home and with your father?" And da 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 da, because it all came up. And she said, "Oh my God." She had this clarity that she realized finally that she felt like she was falling apart inside because of her childhood growing up with her father and what she caught her father and da, 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 da. So it's not just like releasing something. You have to also understand, like I do mentorship sessions. I'm not saying you have to get a session with me, but these are where we go internal to realize what's blocking us of receiving love. Do I think you need to move on from this person and find someone else? Yes. But I also suggest you going internal and start asking yourself, why is this, where's this lack of love coming from? Because I address shit straight on. Okay, I feel lonely. I want a relationship. Well, what am I feeling that's projecting that energy in my reality that I'm not getting that? Because the 3D world does this. Well, I don't have anyone on Tinder matching with me, and I don't want to meet anyone on Tinder. And then I'm like, well, what are you doing for you? Like, are you going out? Are you meeting new people? Well, I work, and we just are afraid to go out and do stuff. We have to love ourselves. We have to love ourselves because we have to show ourselves like we come first and we also are important, but we can't look for validation. And I'm going to be honest with you, and don't take this negatively because it's a human thing. You're looking for someone to fulfill you, to bring you wholeness. And that's what we normally have done. And so what will always happen in that situation is they'll have confidence. Let's say like you lack confidence in something else and they have the confidence in something else. So they compliment you and make you whole. But that's not what it's supposed to be. And what happens is that that person ends up giving you all their love. You give them all your love. Now it's depleted. Now you're both arguing with each other and it doesn't work out because you haven't really learned that you're missing these things. The other thing that my spirit guides are saying too is there's something in particular with you with the past. I don't know who failed you in love. I don't know what broke your belief of love, but you have a piece of love and relationship that is projecting in your life that this is what looks like. I don't know if it was your parents. I don't know if they broke up or separated, or you had a traumatic relationship that just went, I thought this was it and it wasn't, and it shocked you because you're not allowing yourself to fully gravitate to there is a potential new love. Like there is someone. Like a part of you is like, I don't know if it even exists. I don't know if this person. That's why I said before, I think too, your age has nothing to do with it. I don't care if you're 50 or 60 or 40. I don't know how you could be 38. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There is someone that matters. You ever see those couples that become friends and they're companions and they're lovers, they never get married, but they were married before? That can happen. Or you can get married again. But the thing is with you, there's something in your past that you need to really, and spirit says if you thought you healed it, you didn't. um is my situation, it's my situation also. I wanted to travel, but the house was damaged and insurance refused to pay. Damn. So you have to ask yourself overall your self-value, because your reality is projecting your value. You don't feel valuable. And where did that come from? Someone might have told you that you're shit, you're nothing, you're worthless, and you believed it. Toxic relationships have that, but your reality is falling apart. You're trying to like love yourself and go here, but then this happens, and then you're trying to meet someone. You're like, well, where's this going? And you don't have. You're not. You okay? You don't feel like you can grab onto life. Like life just keeps happening to you, and so you're also responding to how reality is affecting you. I was very busy with negative things that happened in health and was not great either. So I didn't have much time to look for love. All right. So it's not about the love with someone else. What's happening is you lost yourself. You needed to love yourself. So much stuff was happening that took you away from you, and you were tired, burnt out, and this happens and that happens. When that happens, we tend to lack in speaking our truth and saying no, I can't do that. How am I gonna pay the bills if I'm not working? You keep doing and doing and doing, and you're avoiding your own emotions. And at first we don't know that because we think we're just going and going and going, but you have to stop avoiding. You need to really sit down and be with you and stop avoiding yourself. I had to kick myself in the ass the other day because I kept waking up, smoking a cigarette, having coffee, and I'm like, what's next? What am I doing next? And I didn't realize I kept doing that to myself for so long. And I used to go get coffee and go sit by the river in my car and listen to motivational stuff and come back home and do work. And I burned myself out. And I had to kick myself in the ass. And I was like, I'm going to go sit in the grass. I'm going to lay down and I'm going to be with Joe because I didn't want to do that. And I put on affirmations and I kept saying, I love myself. And I was like feeling the energy and I was forcing myself to be with myself. And that brought me a lot of clarity, actually. It brought me clarity to my relationships, my relationship with my mom, It brought me to a relationship with myself more. It's learning when to say no, learning when to speak my truth, learning when to what does Joe need? Because we all need little things of fulfillment and work in progress. And I did this today, and so you learn more about. I learned more about myself more than I ever have, and I learned recently how much I really do love myself because I like my time. I like my time when I'm hanging out with you or on the phone with my friend or just being with it's precious to me now. I realize that my thoughts, if we get caught up thinking about being lonely and sad, we have to realize that that is a precious energy and time. Like, why waste your time on thinking about that? And I stop doing it. I rewrite it. I catch myself and I rewrite it. And I rewrite it. That's why
Yep.
my head looks so big. Like, it just keeps growing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do thank you for coming on today, Joe. And unfortunately, I do have to start wrapping it up because the wife has other things she needs me to do. And thanks you as well once again for being a little more clear about her message.
No problem. You guys can find me on Facebook or YouTube. I have the podcast too. Just look up A Millennial's Third Eye and let me know. I would love to be on the radio show with you guys too. And hopefully I'll be back again. Keep me in touch. I'll be in touch with you. Stay in touch.
Definitely will. And that was going to be my next question is where can they find you? But you just said that. So, um, all my listeners know you can find me on Paranormal the New Normal Facebook group on Facebook. And that's the best place to find everything I do. And you can also reach me on Twitter and Instagram as @JuggaloBastard.
Yeah. If you can send me a link to this, I want to share it on my page too.
Yeah, sure. I definitely will when it releases out on the podcast world.
You got it.
And I mean, yeah, I'll send you the link to the video too because that'll be that's up on Parapost now forever. So
Got it.
But all right, and I definitely will talk to you in the future about doing other things. So because you actually gave me an idea for something to do for one of my major Halloween events. So I have an idea now, and I might need to include you in it. So we'll see. But
All right.
I will catch all my listeners next time. Thank you all for watching and for commenting and having a good time.
Thank you. Take care, guys.